Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ask Coach Marie. I'm Marie O'Neill, founder of Padma Life Coaching, and your host on this series. This is the place where you ask a question and I give my unique opinion as a life renewal coach, astrologer, and past life regression facilitator. Please know that I am not a therapist and I will never tell you what you must do. Each week on Friday, a new video is released with me answering 2 questions from the viewers. I also talk about various other life renewal topics. If you have questions that you would like me to answer for you, send them to padmacoach@icloud.com. Let's go ahead and get started with the questions for this week. The first question comes from Ina, who is in Portland, Maine. Ina says, my 29th birthday is coming up and I'm being told by a friend who isn't an astrologer that I will be going through my Saturn return at that time. What is a Saturn return? Good question. Thank you for asking it. Saturn is a planet, of course, and it takes Saturn 29 years to go around the sun. All the planets orbit around the sun. It takes Saturn 29 years to orbit the sun and come back to a particular position, say the position that it was in at the moment of your birth. Saturn itself is a planet about maturity. And because it takes 29 years to come back around to the point of your birth, when Saturn gets back to the place where it was at the time of your birth, that's called a Saturn return. We have a Jupiter return, a lunar return, a Mars return, and it means the same thing, that the planet has orbited around the sun and really around the entire zodiac and come back to the sign and the position it was in at the time of your birth or at the time of the start of adventure. With Saturn, like as I said, we're talking about maturity, aging. Saturn is always going to represent our maturity. When Saturn leaves the position that it was in at the time of your birth, it's going around the wheel and it is gathering information, knowledge, it's learning, it's growing, it's developing. Really, you are the one developing a particular aspect. You're developing that Saturn aspect of yourself. Saturn is always going to be in a particular sign too. So say you are a Saturn in Capricorn, as I am actually in a particular generation, that means that you're going to have hard work. You're going to be climbing that mountain and it's not going to be easy. The mountain of life. It's not going to be easy, but you will get to the top of that mountain. And once you get there, you are to teach others and help others to do the same. When we're having our Saturn return, it's a report card time, basically. The question is, what have you done? How have you grown and developed since Saturn has been away? Think of it as Saturn going on holiday or going out and working and then coming back home and taking stock in what has been gained. You've usually always gained something. When we have these Saturn returns, we usually get at least 2 and sometimes 3 or 4 Saturn returns. So 29, 58, 87, we get Saturn returns and each one has a different meaning. Because you're turning 29, it's really official that you will be an adult. And that means that you have gone around the wheel of life one cycle. And now it's time for you to mature and take on more responsibility. Look at the people who are older than you. Ask them what happened for them between the ages of 28 and 30, because Saturn stays in a sign for 2.5 years, meaning that when Saturn enters a particular sign, the Saturn return is beginning. A lot of times it culminates, I usually say, after it leaves that sign. For some people, it may culminate a little bit earlier. So I give it a 2-year period for sure. Because you are 29, as I said, you're being asked to demonstrate to yourself that you are mature. You may find that you're buying a house, or maybe you're starting a family. Maybe you started a new job. Maybe you've gotten promoted in that job. This particular period is, as I said, report card time. After you go through this Saturn return and you're an adult, officially, you then will go another 29 years around the wheel and come back again between 58 and 60. And you will then get another report card because you're beginning now to look at what you're going to give back to the community. If you are working a traditional job, you may be thinking about what you're going to do at retirement. It's wrapping up a particular phase, the kids are out of the house, and you are looking at what you want to give. Then there's the third Saturn return, which happens at age 87. And that particular period is you're wrapping things up. You're preparing yourself to go back home. So I hope that answers your question. Please send me an email and let me know how you get on, and happy birthday. All right, our topic for today is how to pray. There is absolutely no wrong way to pray. You can pray any way you'd like. You can pray anywhere you'd like. I know that a lot of people think, oh my goodness, you need to take a shower, you need to be on your knees, you need to be in a sacred space or in church to pray, and all of that is fine. However, you don't have to. Let me tell you, there have been times when I have prayed in the moment, when I have needed help. Sometimes I've just, in my mind, said help. Actually, I've not said help. I've screamed help in my mind. And the guides, the divine, they know what I'm asking for. And when I scream help, I'm asking for help now. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, but now. And that help shows up. Your intention, your motivation, your desire for help, if it's strong, it's heard. It's heard right away. You can pray, as I said, anywhere. Now, yes, it's nice when you've got time to sit and pray, but my goodness, even if you're sitting on a bus, you can send out a prayer. And remember, a prayer is you want to have gratitude for the blessings that you are given, because we're all given blessings, even if it doesn't seem like we're given blessings. We are. So when you're praying, it's always a good idea to give thanks. Sometimes you don't have time. You just want some help right now. And it's okay to ask for what it is you want right in that moment, especially if you're in distress. Now, here's the other thing, though. This is something that is important. It's not a good idea to ask for the outcome. The reason that it's not a good idea is because you can limit, or you can tie the hands of the divine, so to speak, if you say what you want in a specific way. For example, you want to date and you're praying for who you want, and you have specifics. You might say, oh my goodness, that person needs to be a certain height. They need to wear a certain type of shoes. They need to look a certain way. Well, that's really narrowing the scope of, number one, the type of person that is available that fits that, but also suppose that's not the person who is right for you. So you want to pray, and you of course want to pray for a good person, someone who is supportive and helpful, and maybe you want them to be on a particular path, and that's all fine. But what I'm getting at is when you're praying, you want to make sure that your prayer is broad enough, what you're asking for is broad enough that you give the divine a wide parameter. You want to be as open as you can. You also don't want to tell the universe how something needs to show up. It can show up in a myriad of ways. Another example of this is when I had a desire to get my education. I did not tell the universe how I wanted to get my education, my college degree. I didn't tell the universe how I wanted the blessing to show up. I just said, I have a desire to have my education, and I focused on that. I had a one-track mind. This is what I'm getting. And I had to be open, and I was open to how the universe brought that blessing to me. And I did get that blessing. And not only did I get one degree, I got two. And I'm very happy for that. So hopefully that helps you. So how to pray? Pray anywhere, any way you'd like to. Be thankful for the blessings, because everything is a blessing. Don't tie the universe's hands on how your blessing is to come to you. Don't narrow that. Let me know how you are praying, and let me know how the prayers are answered, because they're always answered. Prayers are answered before you can finish the prayer. It's just that whatever it is you're asking for has to manifest in this realm. It's already in the etheric realm around you. All right, let's get going with the next question. Our next question comes from Vincent, who is in Henderson, Nevada. And Vincent writes, what is your view on evil? Does it exist? That's a really good question. And of course, there are people who don't believe evil exists. I believe that it does exist. And I believe it exists because it has to exist. There is always polarity. There's always opposites. We have angels, we have archangels, we have evil, we have light, we have dark. In order for us to evolve, there has to be friction. There has to be something that we are opposed to. And that's just the way it works here in this realm or on this earth plane. Evil is here because it is evolving also. It is moving or has moved far away from the light, as far away from, quote, the divine as it can go. At some point, if it's inhabiting a being, it will turn back around and come back towards the light. It is not our job to get involved with someone or even an organization that is evil, because for the most part, we are not strong enough as individuals to work with that energy. Therefore, my suggestion is always, if you can, to stay away from that energy and to send up prayers for it, to send up prayers for yourself, ask for protection, always ask for protection. Every day, ask to be protected from entities and energies that are contrary to you, and see yourself in a sphere, see a sphere of light around you, of healing light, but also light of protection. Just because you are a good person doesn't mean bad things won't happen. And sometimes you can yourself do things that aren't good or aren't optimal, and you can be taken down the road of potentially turning dark yourself, and that's not something you want. In society, we've always had evil, and it preys on the light. It preys on people who are, quote, good people who have a lot of energy, a lot of good energy and good qualities. So I'm not going to go into this too much deeper. Yes, it does exist, and you want to protect yourself from it as much as you can. If you are dealing with evil in any way, you can always go to your priest if you're Catholic, or you can go to your bishop, or you can pray for guidance with how to deal with it. You can pray for protection. There are some wonderful stones in the mineral kingdom that are really good protection stones. One of them is the black tourmaline. If you can get tourmaline with a rutilated quartz, it's a black tourmaline that has shards of crystals that are embedded within it. You can wear that as protection. There are plenty of ways that you can protect yourself, but please don't engage with evil if you can help it, and do what you can, especially today with everything that is going on. The wars, all the wars inside families for that matter, communities. There's so much discord going on that you want to protect yourself. And protect yourself when you are going to sleep at night too. Ask for protection, because when you're asleep, you're vulnerable. Your consciousness is in a different place when you sleep. And so you're vulnerable to other beings coming through. And I'll talk about that at another time. But anyway, yes, there is evil, and do what you can to protect yourself. All right, we have come to the end of the questions for today, for this week. Please send questions to me to padmacoach@icloud.com. Be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That really does help with the algorithms. If you'd like to learn more about my journey, you can find my memoir on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any place where books online are sold. You can find my memoir, which is And the Lotus Opened, a memoir. Please email me if you'd like to work with me as your coach, as your astrologer, or past life regression. I am here for you. I will see you back here next week. Bye-bye.